Watch out!
These are exciting times, despite Pokemon Legends ZA being fairly MIA since its original teaser trailer. News is still a swirling though, and we finally have the release date for Pokemon Legends ZA narrowed down. That's right, Pokemon slipped up by giving us more information than they meant to by accident. It's just so like them at this point, am I right? We also have some Switch 2 news to coincide with this, so I hope you're ready to take in all the deets and stay with me so I can explain what it all means in tandem. Alright, so we already knew that ZA was going to be a 2025 release. It's something we're all super excited for as it means Game Freak is finally taking a year off releasing something and putting more time and effort into their future endeavors. But that 2025 release is just so vague, right? A year is a broad time period, so when the heck can we expect Legends ZA within that time frame? Well, a closely related release event tells us a lot about the timing of when it will come out, as Pokemon game releases are deeply tied to release events in other branches of the Pokemon Company, such as anime, merchandise, and in this case, the TCG. Let me put things in perspective real quick, and we can thank our good friends at PokeBeach for compiling all this info. So on November 15th, 2019, we saw Pokemon Sword and Shield hit the shelves of our local game stores. Not even 2 weeks afterwards did TCG sets also hit the store shelves, featuring Sword and Shield's Galarian Pokemon that we came to know and love. Two coinciding products to sell around the same time that are connected but exist as completely different mediums, as is how the Pokemon Company functions. On January 14th, 2022, we were able to get our hands on the Starbirth TCG line, which featured Arceus and versions of Pokemon that were blessed with Arceus' power. This is a similar mechanic to Frenzied Alpha Pokemon from Legends Arceus. Surprise, surprise, Pokemon Legends Arceus hit store shelves just 2 weeks after this TCG set came out, albeit in a slightly unconventional manner of the TCG hitting before the game as opposed to the other way around. But again, I really do think COVID had some delays with the game itself, so that's why it's been the exception. Now, on November 18th, 2022, we got our hands on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We weren't happy about it, thanks to the game's infamously buggy release, but we got our hands on it. A little while later, on January 20th, we nabbed the TCG sets associated with Paldea. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? It's the coinciding schedules. That's our key takeaway so far. So, Pokemon, in typical fashion, has already scheduled a few TCG packs for 2025. Let's take a look at what the good folk at PokeBeach have compiled for that then, shall we? The pack Battle Partners will come out on January 24th. The feature for this TCG line will be notable characters and their Pokemon, and they've been so kind as to already let us know which characters they'll mainly be focusing on. We have Iono of Paldea, En of Unova, and Lily of Alola. All three of these characters have pretty much nothing to do with Kalos, and we can also deduce by the title being Battle Partners that there's no clear reference to Legends ZA. You may remember that Pokemon Legends Arceus is the only mainline game to not release in the holiday season, as it came out in January 2022. So a lot of people thought this release window was likely, but now it seems like it's been ruled out. So how does the rest of the year look? Well, we have more releases that tell us everything. TCG sets featuring Steven and Marnie will be releasing on February 21st, 2025. Both of these lovable people have absolutely nothing to do with Kalos, other than Marnie being from a region that's near it geographically, but that doesn't really mean anything. So yeah, February is kind of out of the question. But that's still quarter one of the year. What about quarter two? Well, we have the glory of Team Rocket releasing after the previous set we just talked about. TCG sets don't really come out in the same month, so we won't be seeing this one until at least March, which would effectively be the end of quarter one. And if it releases after March, then it'll be a quarter two release. This set also seems to have nothing to do with Kalos or Legends ZA, so it seems pretty clear to me that Pokemon will not be releasing in quarter one, and odds aren't looking good for quarter two. When we do see a TCG pack associated with ZA, we'll also likely have some form of Mega Evolutions involved in the set. Now, bear with me though, because that's not all the info we have today to help us pin down a release date for the game. I want us to divert our eyes to the Switch 2 for a second. We know it's coming out in 2025. Nintendo has all but confirmed this at this point. Nintendo systems typically release in or right before the holiday season, in quarter 3 or quarter 4. But it's also very unlikely that Nintendo bothers showing us footage of a Switch 1 game when they'll be trying to push their Switch 2 to sell. This has led many of us to infer that Legend ZA will be a Switch 2 title, and not only that, but it will likely be the launch title for the system to help boost sales. There's no better game than Pokemon to do that after all. Now, if we've already deduced Legend ZA is not arriving until April at the earliest, let's remember that one of the few times Nintendo has released a system not in quarter 3 or 4 was with the Nintendo Switch itself, which released on March of 2017 alongside The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as its launch title. If Pokemon Legends ZA is not launching in March, we can almost completely rule out that the Switch 2 will come out in March, because why would they release Switch 2 and then push Switch 1 games instead of just making them Switch 2 games? Even with backwards compatibility, that doesn't make much sense. Again, it's confirmed that developers have had Switch 2 dev kits for quite a while now, and historically, based on when Nintendo systems usually have released, it seems like Switch 2 will be releasing either in quarter 3 or quarter 4. You'll also remember that Pokemon typically releases their games in the holiday season, almost always the month of November specifically. And one more time I'll ask, why release a Switch 1 game after Switch 2 comes out? And that leads us to the final verdict on when Pokemon Legends ZA will be released, and even the earliest date that the Switch 2 could come out. When you put everything together, it's quarter 4 of 2025, the end of the year, most likely November. If Legends ZA is a Switch 1 title, then that would mean Switch 2 won't release until 2026. If Legends ZA is a Switch 2 title, or even has two versions, one next gen and one current gen, then we'll likely very well see Switch 2 release in quarter 4, 2025. So all of this info has really helped us narrow down both Switch 2 and Pokemon Legends ZA's releases. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. Does it mean anything to you? Does it not? In the meantime, check out my video on why Legends is the best thing to happen to Pokemon since Go, and why a Legends game being the launch title for Switch 2 would be perfect. The link is right in front of you on the right. I've been johtojonny, and I'll catch you all there.